Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to make my contribution to the debate that is on the floor concerning the bill name? Establishment of a Recovery and Development Agency. First, Madam Speaker, I'd like to begin by saying that I offer my praise and thanks to God for His mercy, the power of the Most High God, Madam Speaker. That's why we are all here. We are in this honorable house. And Madam Speaker, we are here for a purpose. That is a phrase often repeated. You're here for a purpose. Sometimes motivational speakers tend to point out to people, find out what is your purpose. Because it is only when you have identified your purpose that you will be happy doing what you're doing. Madam Speaker, none of us elected ourselves to this house. We were sent here by people. The people of our community, Madam Speaker. The people of the Virgin Islands, all 9 districts. So why are we here, Madam Speaker? At this time in our history, why are we here? Why are we the ones sitting in this honorable house today? I would like to think, Madam Speaker, that we are here to serve in the best interests of our people. All of us. The best interests of our people. And I want to say from the onset, Madam Speaker, today is not a day when we stand up here and try to say things that would get us votes. Yes, an election is coming up sometime. It may be sooner, or it may be in the scheduled time. Whenever it is, Madam Speaker, today is not a vote-getting day for any of the 13 of us. Madam Speaker, we are called to vote on an issue that will affect the lives of Virgin Islanders for generations to come. And if we are honest with ourselves, we all are going to point to it, because that is what we can see. Only the blind man on a fast horse, well, sometimes they say even a blind man on a fast horse could see. This thing is going to affect lives in our country for generations to come. This establishment of a Recovery and Development Agency and board, Madam Speaker, will affect lives, the decision that we will make. So I want to say from the get-go, Madam Speaker, it is not whether you're VIP or you're NDP or you're NEP who may be meeting quietly and haven't come forward yet. It is a national issue. It is a national issue that concerns all of us as Virgin Islanders. And Madam Speaker, I know that in our community oftentimes you try to say that and people misunderstand what you say and think that you are pointing at them. But even the people who have become citizens of this country, it will affect their lives as well. And all the children who are born here, it will affect them as well. So it isn't because I could claim that I am how many generations deep. It isn't about me. This thing is for all of us to understand what is happening to us. The slight difference we have is that some people have somewhere else to go. We have nowhere else to go, Madam Speaker. So we got to fight. And this is why I'm fighting today. We don't have any place else to go. We have to fight to defend this. Oftentimes you hear people talk about what percentage of the population we are and what we ain't not. Madam Speaker, if there's one man left standing, defend your country, let everybody else follow. That is my first commitment. And I agree with the junior minister. I know a time when it was the pledge from the party. I'm saying it is not a political issue, but I know when that was our mantra. Putting our people first. I don't know where we've lost it. Are we getting mixed up somehow along the way? But the tune changed. The tune changed. But I'm reminding that it isn't about VIP and it isn't about NDP or it isn't about NEP. It is about what is happening to us in our country today. 2018, after 2 major hurricanes and a flood, after disasters, Madam Speaker, we find ourselves in a situation where we have to fight to get out of it. And I want to establish early, Madam Speaker, it isn't that I don't believe or understand that a structure might be a necessary thing to have established. It is not that at all, Madam Speaker. It is the conditions that are set for us. It is the conditions that are set to establish the structure. And I want our people listening to understand quite clearly. Because when those conditions too hot, like we like to say when the bullet can't be bitten, can't bite that bullet. If you can't bite the bullet, you have to let go. We can't be in here saying that we're representing the people, but we can't see what the intention is and what is happening, Madam Speaker. So we have a lot of concerns. We have concerns, and I'm going to try to go through them and see if I could calm down and get through them. We had concerns why we wrote that letter to the Honorable Premier to say to him that we are not going to toe the line just because we are the backbench. We ain't toeing that line, Madam Speaker, because we can look through things for ourselves. Madam Speaker, please permit me to read again at this time. The letter was introduced yesterday. The letter that came from the Great House, the Valley Virgin Gorda, and all members have their copy. I don't think the general public, everybody was listening. I would like to read it again and to point out the concerns we had from then when that letter surfaced. Great House, the Valley Virgin Garden, Necker Island, British Virgin Islands, the 8th of November, 2017. Members of British Virgin Islands Chamber of Commerce and Hotel Association, dear all. Hurricane Irma has had a devastating impact on the Virgin Islands, and the resilience and spirit of the BVI community and businesses has been inspiring. However, the damage to infrastructure, homes, and communities has had a shattering impact on the people of the BVI. We must act now. I know of the wonderful support which has been coming in from all corners of the Caribbean and across the world. Our Virgin teams were on the ground from day one, and along with other North Sound businesses and disaster relief teams, have been reviewing these offers of support in line with short and long-term needs. Over the last month, I have met with Governor Jasper, Premier Smith, Dr. Pickering, Caribbean heads of state, representatives from Inter-American Development Bank, the World Bank, and International Monetary Fund. During these meetings, I have heard some fantastic ideas. However, there are also aggressive time frames. Financial commitments and clear targets to realize the strategy needed for the rebuilding, particularly the financial services sector, tourism sector, and the BVI economy generally. I feel it's only right to share these opportunities with you, as these concerns impact all businesses in the BVI. And we have some bullet points and subject matters, Madam Speaker, listed. Ensuring reliable and regular means of travel into the BVI, air and sea. Law and order. Government commitment to rebuild infrastructure and services. Health assurance and monitoring general public health. IT infrastructure. Town and country planning. Education system. Plans for clean energy. And the tourism sector will have to overcome its own unique challenges. Effective and speedy rebuilding of resorts. Free flow of construction labor. Free flow of construction labor, including work permits, and facilitation of skilled labor into the BVI. Duty exemptions on building materials. Plans for clean, renewable, reusable energy. Programs for training hospitality staff. As leaders in the region, We all want to see the BVI economy recover as quickly as possible. And your insight and knowledge will be invaluable during the reconstruction process. I do not underestimate the scale of complexity of the task ahead. We need to come together quickly as we move from immediate relief to recovery to help form and deliver a plan. With these points and the challenge that we face in mind, I'd like to request your thoughts on the key priorities for the BVI's long-term recovery. I committed to Governor Jaspert and Premier Smith that I would consult business owners in all relevant sectors to gather your feedback, ideas, and requests, and compile these in a report for their consideration. I am also working to set up a small team in the BVI to support this project to help implement some of these ideas. I recognize this is a hugely challenging task and that we need to work at pace. We should also see it as an opportunity for us to work together to create a cleaner and more resilient BVI, setting an example to the world for small nation recovery. I look forward to hearing your views and working with you on the way forward. Please, could you send your feedback and ideas on key priorities for long-term recovery to Haley Gordon @virgin.com. We will come back to you with a consolidated version of the feedback and a view of the next steps. Thank you for your support on this project. Regards, Richard Branson. Madam Speaker, when that letter surfaced, we brought the concern to the Premier's attention because it seemed to us, some of us, that somebody had just gotten a position as ambassador for the BVI. Either he had gotten the position as an ambassador, chief negotiator, he had become some kind of elected member, and as a matter of fact, we asked the Premier up front, when was he elected? Because we didn't remember. We couldn't remember that this person was around in any district asking for any vote to appoint him to the legislature. So we had a concern. But we had other concerns, Madam Speaker, because the areas that are pointed out in this letter, the subject matter, and all the areas that are bullet point in the letter, seems to be the government's agenda. I don't know if reading it out, I'm sure everyone get the idea that these would be the concerns of the government. But then we heard that it was the governor, the Premier, and the Deputy Premier. So, Madam Speaker, when we think that we are having a meeting to go through issues and how we would be going forward, only to find out that our meeting wouldn't be the real meeting at all. and that some other persons were already, as a matter of fact, as stated here, taking action. Managing the government, Madam Speaker. In essence, this is what it is saying. This is what the letter is saying. But I'm throwing it out there because people need to know for themselves. And they need to ask themselves what their concerns would be. So we are now faced with a critical decision. And before I get into the agency bit, Madam Speaker, I want to make the point that the recovery plan itself was not shared with members. I really don't know if it was shared in the cabinet before, but I know that as a member of the caucus, we saw it only when it was being shown to stakeholders and we were being asked or being told that we were expected to defend it to in our districts. Yes, we had a presentation, but it was one without sight of the plan. It was an oral presentation, bits and pieces. And from the get-go, Madam Speaker, there were concerns about that plan. When you check the letter that I just read, and you check the high-level UK letter that was read yesterday, Madam Speaker, you find that they all gel. They all gel. They come together. And this, I had a concern from day one. That is why I'm so concerned about the agency. Because it is not about us being the government. They're bringing it to us to pass it. Because they need you to say yes. But the decisions are already made, Madam Speaker. Decisions are already made. We have no say. We have no say. So why am I being asked to say yes to this plan, this agency and board? Well, let's go a little further. It's a critical issue, Madam Speaker. Very critical issue. We saw the draft bill last week for the first time. It was sent by email on the 13th, Tuesday the 13th. And it had its first reading by the 15th. Then we were expected to go through it rapidly, as fast as you can. Because you have to pass it into law. I had my concerns then, and I still have my concerns, Madam Speaker. Because when you try to read the document, somebody has a plan. I don't want to call it a conspiracy, but it's fishy. It's fishy. The idea is rules will be set for you to run things, run the country, manage everything. And the worst part is you mustn't ask a question. You have no say in the matter. Don't correct anything on the document. Take it the way it's given to you. Let it be clear, Madam Speaker, that the UK's position is that they will guarantee. It isn't money that they're giving. They will guarantee you up to, I have £300 on my paper, million pounds. I don't know how much it works out to in dollars. Honorable Minister says it's about 400 million. More or less, here or there. The point is, they're only going to guarantee it. You have to repay the money. But the details of anything else, you mustn't have a say in it. And what is worse, Madam Speaker, they're telling you it is a red line position. The date is a red line date. It must be passed by this time. The governor came before us and told us so last couple of days ago. Everything now is red line. Madam Speaker, and if you'll permit me, I have a short paragraph here. I think I need to pass this to Madam Speaker. Brother. If I can just read, Madam Speaker, 3 short paragraphs from a letter that was sent to Anguilla. Because I want to point out that it isn't just us and that we have not mistaken. It is very clear what the intentions are. Begins with that paragraph, Madam Speaker, that says, as we have discussed previously, I want there to be no doubt about the importance the UK government attaches to Anguilla managing its public finances sustainably. This is critical, and not only for managing future fiscal risks, but attracting private investment and delivering long-term economic growth. I would like us to disburse the £60 million recovery funds as soon as possible. And I am willing to agree to the dispersal of some funds for the high priority recovery projects. However, this is based on 2 conditions. First, preparation of a revised 2018 budget which addresses the concerns I have noted above by no later than 31st March 2018. Second, your commitment to prepare a revised MTEFP, which is medium-term economic fiscal plan, consistent with the issues I have noted above by no later than 30th June 2018. Given the risk of default, one of the measures I'm considering is the appointment of a chief financial officer. I have therefore asked officials to begin work on preparing an order in council that would provide for a chief financial officer who would have considerable responsibilities over the public finances of Anguilla. This is not a step I wish to take. However, I am asking officials to begin this work now so that this legislation can be enacted, if needed, following the submission of the revised MTEFP, if it does not meet the conditions I have specified. You would, of course, have an opportunity to make representations on the drafting of the order. I should stress, however, that this step would only be taken to ensure the good governance and sustainability of Anguilla's public finances. This is a letter, comes from the Foreign and Commonwealth Office to the Honorable Chief Minister of Anguilla. Madam Speaker, I am making the point that this is what is going on. And I wonder if there's such a letter written for the BVI. I hope, Madam Speaker, that our Honorable Premier will share with us all the information. It is one of the concerns that is outlined in the letter that was submitted to him, of which I am a signator. Madam Speaker, that signatory, thank you, that we don't seem to have all the information. Madam Speaker, I well recall sitting in this Honorable House when it was used as a High Court facility. Because I used to take notes like the lady is taking over there on one of those machines. And I remember the judge clearly pointing out in the case that while you couldn't see what was going on in the man's heart, it was important that you look at his actions. Now the older people, like my grandmother and them, they would tell you, you can't take 40 man and go in a man's house and see what he's doing. Can't get in his heart. You have to look at his actions. And all we are saying, Madam Speaker, is that the intent that jumps out at you when you read the bill for the agency is clear. When you look at the UK high-level 3-page document, when you check what Mr. Branson said in his letter, when you bring them all together, you have only one conclusion. Your country is being taken away from you. It is political interference to the height. It is an erosion of your constitutional rights, Madam Speaker. I can't go along with it. So I am saying to other members as well, colleagues on either side of the aisle, today is not a yes sir day. You know, yes sir, Like, yes, sir. I like drama. I used to be in drama groups. Drama is one of the things I love. Yes, sir. Today is one of those days, Madam Speaker. Today is also not a day to abstain. I'm putting that to my colleagues. It is either you're for or you're against. And so each of us must search our souls. The decision has to come from deep within. Can you live with yourself, or can you see at all what is happening? Madam Speaker, when I heard that corrections made to the bill were not being accepted, I was not surprised, because I done spot the intent long time.
Deputy Speaker, proposed correction.
The proposed correction, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much. Getting ahead of myself. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm getting drained. Proposed corrections. But I wasn't surprised. Wasn't surprised at all. I saw it from a mile away. So, Madam Speaker, I'm saying that we have a decision to make. And it is not a decision to satisfy friends. It is not one to be made to satisfy family. It is not one to satisfy egos. It is not one to satisfy investors. Madam Speaker, our Constitution gave us a right to govern ourselves. We have the next advanced Constitution to Bermuda. I got that very clearly in 2007 when we were trying to go a little further. Interestingly enough, what the British said to us then was, don't watch Bermuda. We can't let you get that, what they have. But from the region, we have the next in line to Bermuda. Madam Speaker. And I'm going to clear up just two things as I go a little further. There's something, Madam Speaker, in the United Nations Charter called Article 73. It's short, so if I could just read it. Tend to be a lot of reading, Madam Speaker. It says, members of the United Nations which have or assume responsibilities for the administration of territories, whose peoples have not yet attained a full measure of self-government, recognize the principle that the interests of the inhabitants of these territories are paramount. The interests of the inhabitants of these territories are paramount, and accept as a sacred trust, the obligation to promote to the uttermost, within the system of international peace and security established by the present charter, the well-being of the inhabitants of these territories, And to this end, to ensure with due respect for the culture of the peoples concerned, their political, economic, social, and educational advancement, their just treatment, and their protection against abuses. To develop self-government, to take due account of the political aspirations of the people, the peoples, and to assist them in the progressive development of their free political institutions according to the particular circumstances of each territory and its peoples and their varying stages of advancement. Madam Speaker, I'm glad that I read that because, as I just pointed out, next to Bermuda, we have the highest level of constitutional advancement. We can't afford to lose it. We fought too hard for it. And Madam Speaker, we have a long history. We have a long history with the UK. It is a long history, Madam Speaker. You see that the document spoke about our educational. There must be concern with our political, economic, social, and educational advancement. Madam Speaker, at all stages, those who are older will tell. They were never interested in any advancement in our educational system. They were not. The college, Madam Speaker, that bears the name H. Lavity Stout, when the UK was approached that we needed a college, they said no. What do you need it for? Did Lavity back down? No. I know some of the stuff, Madam Speaker, because I used to work in his office. He went and he begged for money everywhere he could get it. And he established a list and a bank account called Friends of the BVI. That's how we get a college, Madam Speaker. But today, after the hurricanes, we have some people, we don't know who they are, but they're showing up, telling you they come to see because they come to repair the college. Contractors not of the BVI, Madam Speaker. Because right now, it is my understanding, I may be wrong, but it was brought to me, our contractors not good enough. They're going to have to be licensed through the UK. I don't know. I can't ask the ministers to clear it up because it seems like there's so much they don't know. So much they don't know, Madam Speaker. So I can't depend on the fact that when I ask the Minister of Education, he'll be able to tell me. You see? But you know, Miss Honorable Eileen used to sit as a small tongue, you just hear things. But they showed up on the doorstep of the college. Said they come to repair. And what was given to them? You ain't come to repair this. Because if we could build it, we could repair it. Madam Speaker, it's going to take me a little time getting through, but I can get there. Ever so often, you said today is not a yielding day. Ever so often, Madam Speaker, you hear reference being made that we're in a partnership. And the reason I read out this United Nations document, Madam Speaker, because with respect for our older people in our community, what was given to them is that Britain own we. Every day you'll have somebody telling you, they could do what they want, they own you, you belong to them. This document says that there's a sacred trust with an obligation that they have. That's an oversight. And that's why we have that Constitution that says you can make decisions for yourself. But I just want to give a little interjection here about the owning. And I want to make reference to this book. I'm going to go into anything. One quote from the book. I just want to point out, Madam Speaker, that there was a time when people owned people. It was called slavery. People were considered as property. Property and nothing else. That time has passed. This man, and it's an important book, others can look for it. It's called The Hanging of Arthur Hodge. And we have a lot of Hodges in the country. And the particular area where his plantation, and he had several, I understand, he was quite an outstanding what he was. One of those who ran things. I read a book a while back. Plantation owner, which went all up Bellevue Hill, Madam Speaker. And he owned something up Hodges Creek, what we call Hodges Creek today. But he had killed his slave for eating a mango. A mango. You know, like a mango, Madam Speaker? And then he was brought to charge for it. But his plea, the plea he made, Madam Speaker, and the charges laid out in the book as well. But his plea was that a Negro, being property, it was no greater offense in law for his owner to kill him than it would be to kill his dog. I just making the point, Madam Speaker, concerning this owning thing. Young, educated people today will tell you, but they own you. They could do as they like. They could do as they like because you're sitting down and not opening your mouth. You have to stand for something. If we don't stand for this generation, in this generation, then we'll get back to this point here. That is why we are told that you have to know your history, Madam Speaker. Otherwise, you'll be like a tree without roots. There are things that you can't overlook, and you got to be able to spot them early on. You have to be able to see it coming. So, Madam Speaker, the point I want to get to is that it is not that we are not responsible people, and it is not that we wouldn't think that a structure is needed for money is borrowed, and it is not that we don't think that people who gave their money, that the money should be accounted for, and we agree with all the transparency. But to tell me that I have no say in the matter, all I have to do is pass it in law, I have a problem with that. Can't work so. It cannot work so. It cannot work like that, Madam Speaker. And so when it's convenient, Madam Speaker, they tell you you have a partnership. And then to make it sound a little better, they said it's a modern partnership. It ain't only a partnership no more, it's modern. Visiting ministers come here all the time, and that's what they say. We have a modern partnership. But what we are seeing today is very different. Looks more like a dictatorship to me. And then I have some concerns also, Madam Speaker. Because the recovery plan itself, as we went around to the various districts, and I can't speak for everyone, but I attended 6, that agency, situation, establishment, however it was to operate or not, it was not put to the people. It didn't come up. Not in any of the meetings that I attended. Premier will admit that I raised it in caucus several times. How is it that the agency was not spoken of in those public meetings? How is it that the Terrence B. Lettsome International Airport wasn't any of the matters discussed in those meetings? But they got some plans for it. Okay. And to go a little further, Madam Speaker, like all governments, you would understand that we have indoor meetings. So we had some meetings, and we came to a position. Since the concern for the borrowing seemed to have been a little overwhelming, why don't we cut back on the borrowing and deal with CDB like we are accustomed to? We have done before. We have borrowed money before. This government has borrowed several times. And then we thought we were going somewhere with that. We came to that position. And by the next day, you're here, no, no, no. Can't do it. Everything must be done through the agency. Suggestion was made, and I have to tell you, Madam Speaker, that my colleague here on the right, she was the first one that I heard suggested. You know, she always anxious to make sure that things gonna happen and how people gonna get something. She a good defender of the people, you know. She was the first one suggested, so why we don't go to Social Security and take a small loan so we could begin, you know? Honorable Keynes, she did. But by the time we mentioned Social Security name, all you could hear is no, no, no. There's one channel marked out for you. Walk this road. This is the road you have to walk. Whoever heard that there's never an alternative to nothing? Yesterday I had a deputy premier there start off about building bridges. Madam Speaker, some bridges lead to nowhere. We old enough to know that. Not every bridge is a good bridge. Leave that alone. And then we have the problem of the word quotes transparency. Because right now a label is put on our government. A label, a big label. We ain't accountable. And yes, there are problems. Who can deny that? Accountability, who can deny that? But show me a government that don't have it and didn't have it. Show me one. Even the UK government, if you follow the news, you will see. And Madam Speaker, all the people that are here already working, some of them saying they have contracts and so on, that we don't know. Is that transparency? The point I'm making is that actions are already being taken. This legislation has not yet been passed. So, when I say that the country is being taken from us, it is very obvious. There are some people who are doing what they want to do. They have no regard for you. Whether they're overseas or they're here, things happening. Things happening here. And if this behavior continues, Madam Speaker, and is actually going on, even after the agency, one of my questions is, So who is going to be monitoring the agency and the board? Who is monitoring to see that they don't violate the law that would be passed? It comes down to a matter of trust. You don't trust them. Things are being said when it's convenient. When it's convenient, Madam Speaker. All I see is another government being established. Madam Speaker, we were asked to put aside money. It wasn't strange to me because it is a principle that we learn from children. Save for a rainy day. We save the money. We did. But that ain't good enough. That is not good enough. At a time when you're down and out. Madam Speaker, I already mentioned in another meeting somewhere about my concerns with the insurance companies and the banks and so on. Yes, it's a bad situation. Because a lot of the houses that look so impressive in the hills, the mortgages must be paid for them. What I can't believe is that we are being blocked in on every side, and every angle you turn that you would be able to help your people. And I don't want our people to misunderstand, to think that we don't know their need and are not feeling the pain. But Madam Speaker, I want them to understand clearly that money that will be going through the board isn't for the people. It ain't money that's going to be shared out. Let's understand it quickly. The point I'm going to make also, Madam Speaker, is that other countries had this experience. When you see the quotations of the stronger, better, greener, and the expertise and the procurement that's needed and what level you have to be at and what have you. Somebody looking out for themselves and their people, not for yours. Not for yours, Madam Speaker. So we have a right to be concerned. We have a right to be concerned. At the end of the day, it's about our freedom to make our own decisions. It's about our destiny, our children's future. And oh, how I love that Buju Banton song. Mama, look from where I'm calling. Destiny. Oh, somebody please play it on the radio for me. when we have our premier, we love him, you know. You just beating him up a little bit. My father used to say, if you need licks, you gotta get them.
That's what leadership does.
Yes. You gotta get your licks. All of us just get our licks.
Absolutely.
Every day somebody beating up on us. But our premier said that I called them some easy excuses. We need to rebuild. Agreed, there's no argument about that. But I think in some one of his speeches, and Premier, I have to let you know that some of the words being used I don't like. We look like a bombed out third world country. Well, they tell us that we are third world. We didn't call ourselves third world, as far as I know. We were not the ones who said we were third world. You're labeled as third world. So I don't know if that's any of the international standard that we like to refer to. You know? We are a third world country. Yeah, we know. But we are very independent minded. That's who we are. And I would hope that we would remain that way. We need jobs for our people. It's true. But Madam Speaker, it is a long time ago since we need more than jobs. It's a long time ago since we've been looking for more than just a job. I remember very well when HL refused some multinational companies from coming in here to give us a chance. Because, like I said earlier, we have no place else to go. Madam Speaker, I was working in trade department. Bobby Leonard, who is the father of UP, his little market was around the corner. Earlier on, we used to call it Glenny Fonseca Corner. Then afterward, a store went there called Latitude 18. That's the corner I'm talking about. And Madam Speaker, the little place was so small, the provisions were lined up along the side of the street. I wasn't married yet. No. I was a working young lady. But I remember that Pueblo was a big supermarket in St. Thomas. I already reached St. Thomas. And they swear they had to get in here. And Lavity swear, no. UP was a little boy, Madam Speaker. Look, UP come today that he continue the father business in a grander way. It is an opportunity that you're saving for your people. We are not any of those who would be considered everywhere else in the world. We have nowhere else to go. I remember when all the Kentucky Fried, I gotta make a little admitting here. Yeah, and we all love it. When you go St. Thomas, buy it. Exactly. And when you go Puerto Rico, buy it.
Yeah, white and cheese.
They were determined that they're coming in here. Madam Speaker, from my own pocket, I went and I print some T-shirts. You know how it is, how the international sign saying no entry? We share them out. We educate everybody around. Tell the Chief Minister, no way. All the Subway and them decide them had to come in here. It's just a sandwich. Take your time and make it. What's the big deal? What is the big deal? A little opportunity for your people and a little 2x4 island. What you pressuring the people for? All the fried chicken and fried chicken and fried chicken. A young man held me up one day, right down there by the waterfront. He was working for Mr. Smith at the time, Mr. Ira Smith, on the boat. He started to grumble about them. He want this chicken come in and real thing that. I said, brother, we're saving an opportunity for you, you know. Because one of these days, you're going to be tired working for Smith. And you don't know where you want to start. So at least you could fry some chicken. Because, Madam Speaker, all you need is some garlic and salt and black pepper. And let it sit good. Flour it a little thing. Let it sit good and operate your thing. He listened to me. He kept quiet. Those are just small examples. But I'm saying there's an opportunity you're saving for your people. So this agency that has to control all procurement and who do what in here, and all of a sudden we don't have the expertise and we ain't know how. We have to ask questions. What are they up to? Madam Speaker, you gotta be able to see it a mile away. As I said earlier, today ain't a yesterday. It's serious decision-making time. And I don't want nobody continue to put us down. Because some people in the BVI decide they are the advisors for the government. Says who? Says who? Who gave you that title? Who's setting them standards? Madam Speaker, we've come a long way. Because when we allow all the money to leave the country and to circulate somewhere else, it is not being circulated in here. When we establish these bodies, Madam Speaker, and we have no say whatsoever, how are we going to ensure that some of the money we borrow will circulate here so that our people can benefit from it? But you're saying we are the ones to pay it back? It sounds funny. I gonna borrow, you gonna spend it, and then I gonna pay it back. It cannot work so. Premier, it can't work like that. Before that, we're going another route. If it comes to that, we will leave the money alone. If that money is costing us what we cannot afford, if there's a pill that we can't swallow, and how them kind of pill, you know? I'm asking Don't ask us to swallow that pill. We don't need to have draconian measures set up for us, Madam Speaker. We don't need that at all. And I notice a concern that we all have. Some weeks ago, the leader of the opposition asked some questions about the agency. I don't know how serious he was, but he asked the Premier some questions about the heads of terms and all that. How we going to operate and how we going to function. He did also ask for some correspondence, some information. I don't know if he got them as yet, but when he get up to talk, he'll tell us, I guess. The way I see it, Madam Speaker, we can't open a doorway. We can't make it so easy for others to come here because we, look at Joe, because we had a hurricane that mashed us up. And we're going to make a business for other people. Are we going to put something in place that benefit others and not benefit us? Us meaning our people. That's our first commitment. It is our first commitment. Stronger, better, greener. A small tongue, it has heard things. We are already hearing about the greenhouses, Madam Speaker. We had a bad experience with some greenhouses already. Because what the public don't know is how many millions of dollars we already spent on them greenhouses. The storm finished, mash them up Perry. Now we get another set come in. All of a sudden the minister, I'm sorry the deputy premier isn't here because he's the minister for the subject. But all of a sudden greenhouse is on his tongue. Each farmer is to get one. Madam Speaker, the farmers of Perry bawling for water for times, asking for a little assistance here and there. Them cancer farmers did, them this and that. I'm not studying no farmers. But right now, come farmers, we got some greenhouses. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. People are using the hurricane and all disaster for their opportunity. They're using it for their opportunity, their business opportunity. Setting it up in a way that your people won't be the ones who benefiting. Madam Speaker, oh, help us. Poor farmers of Parakita. Our agricultural fair was one of the big things. From back in the day when you had to dip the cows and then carry them, and you were proud to show your little sheep and get your first prize, and who had the biggest pumpkin and who had the biggest this and the biggest that. Right now, the only thing we could be introduced to is medical marijuana and all that. I'm not saying I don't know. It might be good. You know, I don't know the benefits of it. So I wouldn't say that that's a bad thing. It's a big problem, Madam Speaker. We have all kinds of big problems. We got problem with the fisheries. Everywhere is a protected area. Don't fish there. We are a people live here by fishing in our waters. Yes. Madam Speaker, lobster ain't a big thing to me now, you know. My father was a fisherman. And on any given Sunday, we had lobster to eat because he couldn't afford nothing else. I'm saying you didn't have the money to buy nothing else. So he used to fish. Lobster and wilks and thing. And monk of them I eat. Now growing up, I don't have to eat them now. They are delicacies now. But some of us were raised on them. My father had a little boat that he used to sail to St. Thomas. He used to dive conchs. Full up his boat with wilks. Leave the wilks in the water so they won't spoil till the day when he gonna make the trip. Full up the boat. A small little boat too. A lot of people thought he was crazy. But he made his living. It was his business. That is the kind of independent Virgin Island spirit that I know about. But we come today to see and understand. Whoever they are who calling the shots and they're offering you the stronger, better, greener, the climate change, the this, the that. But what I see they're really doing is cutting off your livelihood. Don't catch wilks. Don't pick lobsters. Don't fish here. Don't fish there. Don't catch the shark. Don't do this. Don't do that. Madam Speaker, all people gotta survive. International people could say one thing. Because while they're telling you don't do this, that, and the other, they're sending all meat for you to eat. It's true. Full of chemicals. We got to do things for ourselves once again. That is how we get to where we are. We didn't just fly up. It didn't happen overnight. As bad as the roads are, and I heard the honorable member for the third complaining bad about them, that road going eastern. But what he don't know is how many days we travel on them roads just like that. Mr. Antwin had a little red pickup. Mr. Ansel led some when he get his first little wagon. When he get his first little wagon, if you're long look and you're coming town, you only could come in the morning. They might bring down the school children and then they're going to go back up in the afternoon. And you had to make the trips. And the roads were bad. The roads were bad. Madam Speaker, I think it's 2 days I walk over the hill trying to go to the dentist. Get up for the morning and walk come town so you could get to Dr. Hut. And you better be early because a lot of children will be there, and then the wife would tell you, sorry, but the dentist can't take any more children today. So your walk was in vain. I'm just saying all that so people could understand where we came from. We travel on a lot of them dirt road. And it wasn't level out neither. It was a little bumpity bump, bumpity bump. People come here today and see that you have a car, you're driving a Jeep. I had one lady talk to me. She wanted to know, why do people here look so wealthy with all these SUVs? I said, but we live in the mountains. You have to be able to go home. It's just a necessary thing based on our terrain. You could have a small car if you want, but you mightn't be able to get home, and especially if it rains. So you can't look at us on the face of it. That ain't how it is. You have to understand. Madam Speaker, we prepare to fight for our country. We are prepared to fight for it. I see the Minister of Education make a topic the other day for the celebration of H. Lavity Stout. Celebration. What would Lavity do right here, right now? Good. I know one thing he wasn't going to do. He ain't giving up yet the fight for his country. He fought to the end. To the end. And he wasn't overlooking nothing. And if you come to help us, you got to be genuine. Madam Speaker, if you come to help us, you got to be genuine. You can't be saying you're helping me on the one hand, but pulling the rug from under my It don't work that way. We don't deny that we needed help. I know when tourism started here in here, my husband was one of those who had to take small boat, go Canil Bay. All them Bruce Bay boys. They go in Canil Bay to work, but they got a little boat and they're coming up. They're coming up when they get the day off. We've come a long way. We know when Little Dick started Virgin Gorda. Yes, it helped some people, especially the people on that island. And the money circulated. But that isn't to say that we mustn't look for our rights. It don't work that way. People come in, they invested, and them getting benefits too. But the point I like to make is that when things get hard, well, more than hard, when it get really difficult, like when the place smash up, they not love them how for you are going to make them stay. Them gone till you get back up. They're not going to invest money to lose money. They're investing to make money. So they not love for the poor people here why they know they need to give 10 jobs. They lay them off fast. Because they ain't going to lose that money with you. So, Madam Speaker, I am not saying that, like every other country, we mustn't be welcoming and, you know, deal with investors. And we do that all the time. All I'm saying is that first and foremost on our minds must be our people. And opportunities for our people. And it goes beyond just a job. It really goes beyond just a job, Madam Speaker. So this looks like a grand opportunity now for some multinational companies to make some money because we need a lot of things. Time to go. Everybody hungry? I'm winding down. Madam Speaker, I'm winding down.
Take your time, Deputy Speaker.
Okay. I'm winding down. I'm really winding down. Madam Speaker, I could say a lot of things, you know. I could say a lot of things. I could say a lot of things. But we have to make sure that our rights, we mustn't lose that. We can't lose that. Our rights must be upheld at all times. I am sorry that the Premier was so upset about a billboard that was put up down there. It said that we didn't agree with the UK's position, Madam Speaker. Something to that effect. And I did say to the Premier afterward, Madam Speaker, that I was a little disappointed in his thought and his commentary. Because, Madam Speaker, especially in today's world, there's freedom for everything. I see we have media. They're free to print all what they want. They're free to twist your story how they want, twist it. It happens all the time. People are free to blog whatsoever they want. They tell you they want Freedom of Information Act passed. Everything free, free, free. But right now our freedom, our very freedom, is questioned. Not only your freedom of speech, you know. Not only your freedom of speech, but your very freedom itself. To be you. To exist. Is being pulled from under you. We can't let it happen. It's a threat to our democracy, Madam Speaker. We have a right to make our own decisions. And if we can't get UK support while we're making those decisions, so be it. So be it. Why there can't be an alternative? Why you're boxing in every area that you turn? Why you can't borrow from your own social security? Why? But it's the conditions behind. And then they're telling you, these are, listen, you ain't have no say in this matter, you know, this is a red line decision. You can't have a word to say about it. There must be an alternative, Madam Speaker. And then they start to establish their operation already. It couldn't wait. It couldn't wait till the agency passed. It couldn't wait. We are not even able to take the thing to the public so the public will understand what is at stake here and what is happening. We must pass it fast. Get it passed in a week. Madam Speaker, that can't be right. It can't be right. Like the letter I read out there from Anguilla. Parts of the letter, I should say, Madam Speaker. Loan was approved, but you can't get it till you do this and that. The 65 million, Madam Speaker, that we passed, I think it was in December, can't access it. Can't access it. Poor people out there asking, what the government doing? When they going to help us? I see Minister Skelton went around telling how you must send in your application and we're going to be able to help you one of 3 ways. You know? Either you could get a little soft loan, or who eligible will get a direct assistance, and money can be made available because somebody got something. Somebody got something holding over you. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, Madam Speaker. I don't know what it is. The ministers in cabinet might be able to shed a little more light when they get up. But Madam Speaker, as I wind down, there's something called your inalienable right to life, to liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we have to fight with all our being for that. So whatever information that we need to have, Madam Speaker, and whoever is withholding that information, bring it forward. Bring it forward. Bring it forward. Because right now the situation is not good. Situation ain't good, Madam Speaker. We can't surrender our rights as a people like that for external forces and who they deem as exports. And there's a new government being set up. Any which way you look at it, there's a new government is being established. This is what you could figure from all the documentation. And then I have a final question, Madam Speaker. We must cut back. We must cut salaries. We must reform the public service. We must do all these things. But, Madam Speaker, I would like to know how many overseas consultants we have and whether their salaries are cut back. How much they're still getting and what they're doing for the money. I ain't hear yet about no cut for them. Every civil servant frightened right now. Some of them, their salaries, they've already been told them salary cut. But yes, Madam Speaker, there are overseas consultants. We need to hear something about them. And I'm asking and I'm pleading. Let's get the information up front. Because we can't take our public assets to give to other people for them to become richer and richer. Or rich and more rich. Whichever way. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, just before the storm came, we were about to celebrate 50 years of ministerial government. Because we had some past leaders. Honorable Junior Minister made reference to some of them. But I want to go further. Leaders who stood up for us in the world, like the Nelson Mandela and the Martin Luther King, the Bob Marley and the Malcolm X. We can't forget our own H.L. Stout, and we cannot forget Noel Lloyd, Madam Speaker. And I want, for those who didn't know, and since I went into a number of historical events already for the day, that Wickhamski out there was already sold. The agreement was signed and the work had started. But some people here decide they will not accept it. I was working on top of the old post office when a match came down the street. And I don't want to make it sound like it was just a one-day match, because a number of things were happening all over a few weeks period. But a certain match came down the street. And they came upstairs. The office for Mr. Stout was on the south side. They came down the corridor, 2 or 3 of them, and they asked him to come down and talk to the people. He saw that they were serious. Because it wasn't easy, they were pounding on the desk. And he went down and he promised. He promised that he would look into it again. That he would make a move to turn that around. Madam Speaker, we had a one street at a time, what we call today the Old Main Street. Wickhamski, where we drive past Social Security and go down on the waterfront, all there was the sand was already dug up. But it was annoying because this Englishman had decided that when he was finished with his development, none of the local community would be able to come near it. It is in our history, Madam Speaker. So if we try and be careful, if you see us trying to be careful, if you see us trying to be particular about what happens today, that's why we are emotional and worked up. We can't let them thing happen again. Noel Lloyd was imprisoned. Walter Lindy de Castro, he was a surveyor. He was working in the States and he came home and he said, what? Can't allow it. And then the movement started. That's why it's called Positive Action Movement. You want more information, you gotta ask Miss Patsy Lake, because she was right up in it. They locked them up in cell number 5, that old prison down there that we now make a museum. And that is why the business was called Cell 5. They beat up poor Mr. Lloyd, Lord have mercy. But I wouldn't forget the day when he came down with his adrenaline and he's all walked up in sweat. He couldn't contain himself. But yes, Mr. Stout came down and he spoke to them. And then he went to England and he negotiated. The deal was signed. The work had started. But we got back Wickhamski. I don't have to go no further on that today at all. Madam Speaker, I just want to end by saying to all of us, let's call on our God. Whether we call him Jesus, whether we call him Christo, Jah, Jehovah, Allah, or whoever. Because we prove already, and this is a praying community, Madam Speaker, a God-fearing nation we are. I don't know where we slipped to now, but that is what I know of the Virgin Islands. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Madam Speaker, I'm appealing to all of us in this honorable house, the 13 of us. Let us search in our hearts. Let us search in our soul. Let us represent our people. That is why they elected us. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.